Yeah, pull up, 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 pull up. I ain't slowing down, let me give you that.
And we are live. The Monster Move is back. We here. We got my man right here, Chris Tyson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My dog. My dog.
What's dope is you the first guest of the year on a Monster Move. So
Thanks.
this is dope. This is magical. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of game we're gonna drop. We got a lot of just updates. You know what I'm saying? What you got going on, man? How do you spend your New Year's?
Man, relaxed. You know what I'm saying? Just being thankful and blessed. You know, just looking back at last year and then looking, forward to 22 and what we're gonna get completed, what we're gonna get done. You know what I'm saying? The monster moves we're gonna make. You know what I mean? And just, reflecting on those blessings.
You know what's crazy is when you say like the moves we're gonna get done, it's like a lot of people on the top of the year, they always scrambling like, yo, how I'm gonna make this year better than last year. Mm-hmm. And I always think to myself, I think people should put down a goal list. You know what I'm saying? Just a marker of what it is that you want to complete. Like don't just say I want $1 million this year. Like you put down, I want $1 million, but this is how I'm going to get it. And This is what I'm going to do every single day to make this amount of money every day. Like to make $1 million a year is $22,739 every single day, right? Mm-hmm. How are you going to make that much money every single day? And what's going to equivalent to that? So it's like a dope. One of the main reasons why I wanted to bring you into the show is because you're one of those people who help people attain those kind of goals and obtain those kind of things from just other people having that lack of knowledge and you having that to, get people to that next level. So on this show, we're going to show people, tell people how we going to get to the money. You know what I'm saying?
That's
how we going to make those monster moves to get to the paper, to get to the bread. So This is Chris Tyson. Y'all make sure y'all follow him. His follow link is at the bottom of the screen if you are watching and you want to drop your Instagram link.
Real Chris Tyson at Real Chris Tyson is spelled very easy. REAL Chris Tyson.
Exactly.
Spelled regularly.
So, I'm saying, first step, if you was to say, yo, this is the top of the year, how we going to make some money? What we going to do?
Well, first and foremost, a lot of people start out by saying, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, but, they mess up because they don't have no actual plan. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And in order to, you need a plan so you can execute it. So a lot of people say, oh, I want to make I want to make $1 million this year, this, that, and the third. But they don't got no plan. They don't got no idea. Like, they don't got no strategy of, you know what I'm saying? They don't got nothing laid out to where, you waking up and you looking at something that's going to remind you every day, okay, I got to do this. That's going to help me get, execute this plan and get this complete to get to my goal even quicker. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
When you leave that out, you're really left with nothing. So it's like, if you're going to set goals, write them out. You know what I'm saying? Like, create, a plan, month to month, day to day. You know what I'm saying? Like you were saying, you're just breaking down the numbers of what you need to make a day, to make $1 million. Okay, well, how are you going to do that? You know what I'm saying? There's so many ways to make money. And a lot of people, like, they get discouraged. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think causes that discouragement? You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people just are afraid of failure. Like, even if you give it to them, even if you give them the plan, you give them the idea, they're still afraid that they're going to fail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just like that mindset just kind of keeps you trapped. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's sort of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you hear all these stories of you chasing a dream that's just ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? You dreaming too wild, you dreaming too crazy, and you just really can't see that vision down the line. And it's like, my thing is, as a rapper, right? As a musician, you always hear people say, go indie, go indie, go indie. But when it's time to go indie, it's like, okay, so what do I do? You know what I'm saying? Go indie. I ain't signed over to nobody. Okay, cool. What's next? How do I do it? Where do I get this money from? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are lost when it comes to that kind of, those kind of things. Or even when it's starting a business, you got people who's like, yo, where do I go to start a business? How do I start a business? What do I, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, my take on it is networking, right? To me, getting to the next level was always meeting more people, meeting new people. who are the people to meet, and then once you meet them, what do you do after that point? You get what I'm saying? So it's like, what in their positions as a musician, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing to get to the next level? Just as a musician standpoint, because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people do know, but a lot of people who don't know, when you do business, it's kind of like, as a musician, you are a business.
For sure.
You move as if there's a manager, a CEO, a CFO, you know what I mean? And a lot of people don't understand it. All they know is just do the music, record in the studio, and that's it. What are you doing as a, step 1, step 2, step 3? What are you doing?
I mean, you got to really, like you said, being a music artist, it's a business. You know what I'm saying? It's the music industry. It's the music business. You know what I'm saying? So you got to really take it like what you said, a business. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just basically what it is. So, of course, as a music artist, you're gonna, enjoy the creating process and recording and things of that nature. But still, at the end of the day, you got to have your business right. You know what I'm saying? When you go to a label, you sign to a label, major label, independent, whatever it is. There's business that has to be handled. You know what I'm saying? There's percentages that have to be broke down amongst each other. You know what I'm saying? Management, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Even going to a label when you signing a deal and they giving you a budget, you know what I mean? You got to pay that money back. You know what I'm saying? Like, That's all business. And those are things that you have to understand, because if you don't understand those things as an independent artist, like, you will sign yourself away. So it's very important to know.
Do you think like a lot of rappers who always say, "Get me out of my deal, get me out of my deal"? Is it the label fault, or is it their fault for not understanding the business that they sign?
It's the artist's fault.
Why is that?
I mean, I feel like because when a lot of times, you're rushing into a situation. You see the number, like you see the amount of money that you're given, and then a lot of times, a lot of artists aren't really, when you walk into those situations, not really used to seeing $1 million on paper. You know what I'm saying? And that's coming to you. They're not even looking at, everything being broke down into it. Of course, you got to get you a lawyer, make sure everything is, proper that way. That's a part of business. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times, a lot of artists ain't even getting lawyers. They just signing it because like, okay, oh shit, I'm about to get, you know what I'm saying, $1 million, $2 million, whatever the deal is. Like, you gotta understand, like.
But coming from the streets, doesn't $1 million or $2 million, isn't that a lot of money?
Yeah, of course. But I was just about to say, like, even in the communities that we come up in, like, niggas is not used to seeing that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, niggas say it on paper, niggas signing it. You know what I mean? Niggas feel like his music is lit. You know what I'm saying? He popping. The label about to make him even bigger. Nigga, majority thinking like, okay, cool. Like, I'm about to turn up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll pay this back or whatever case may be, but didn't really actually dig deep into what the contract was saying. So a lot of times I feel like
now on these contracts,
because when you sign it, that's you signing, you agreeing to what the contract says. So at the end of the day, if the contract that the label or whoever you're doing business with, when they give you that contract, it's your job to sit down with your lawyer and don't rush it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, make sure the business makes sense and you understand it. You know what I'm saying? Because when you signed it, you can't get mad at the label, whoever it is, down the line, because it's written in ink. Like,
it's like, okay, so is it a deal like, I'm gonna give you $1 million and we're gonna get you popping, but all we giving you was $1 million. So if we make 10 million, that's none of your business. Are those the deals that's happening?
You said it.
So say for instance, I'm a label, right? I'm gonna give you $1 million, and I know as a label I can make 10 million off of you. Mm-hmm. Don't count the other 9 million we make and get mad because we gave you $1 million up front. Are those the deals, or is it like? Because I personally, I don't know what kind of, like, every rapper dang near, it seemed like every time. Every rapper's the same story. I ain't releasing no music thing because I'm in a messed up deal. I'm in a messed up situation. I ain't releasing no music. Like, what are the deals? Like what is those situations? Because
I mean, I'm not too. I feel like everybody gets offered like different type of
like Meek Mill and
deals.
Rick Ross.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like everybody get different type of deals. It's just really depending on what type of deal you're getting. At the end of the day, the person that's putting their money up, of course, they not only need to make their money back, but they need to make money on top of that as well too, because they put in a lot of time and investments into the artist. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really get mad because the investor is, seeing a crazy return at the end of the day, because again, that's just business. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So what do you do? Like how I know you're helping a lot of people. You got musicfunding.com. So what do you explain that to the people who are listening, like, as musicians, up and coming managers, like, what are you doing to help fund these artists so they don't have to deal with going through, the monster labels?
Well, first and foremost, before we even get there, I kind of, with me being an independent artist and having the relationships and understanding how business goes and things of that nature, I like having freedom myself. So it came a time to where, I wanted to do certain things and create certain lanes for myself so I can market and push myself independently with my own freedom, do what I want to when I want to. So what I ended up doing was I ended up creating a company called Viral Media Boost. You know what I'm saying? It's a digital marketing company, and basically it's like a one-stop shop for artists. So basically, if you got a record that you're pushing, you're able to come and use the services that's going to help you, whether you're pushing a video, you're pushing a record, and we got different services from Spotify.
So what's crazy? I as an artist, I've used your platform.
Oh, that's crazy.
Years ago, I remember years ago, bro, and I was like, oh, yo, this is dope. So what made you start Viral Media Boost?
That's pretty much what it was. Just to be honest with you, I was really just learning. I was learning certain things myself, and I started creating like different communities on like SoundCloud and different networks. So I was pretty good and pretty savvy with building networks, and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was doing it for myself, and then it got to a point to where, like, of course I was pushing my music, but other artists that I knew was like, yo, your shit lit. Like, let me pay you to put my joint in there. So I saw income from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I continued to do that. Like, okay, well, shit, if I can make money on this and I could put other people in this, why not? So I continued to do that. And then I had linked up with this cat, and he was kind of connected with a lot of different major artists, you know what I'm saying? And he just started bringing me major artists.
Really?
You know
So some of the major artists you work with, who are they?
Around that time, Soulja Boy,
Really?
Trippie Redd.
And this is earlier in like Trippie Redd's career?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
Like, perfect example. So I'm gonna give you a dope story. So I created this network on SoundCloud. And what I used to do is I used to create all these accounts, and we used to take, this is how I used to build this network. So I used to build my own network. So I used to have different accounts on SoundCloud, right? And this was when SoundCloud was lit, it was popping.
Right. Oh,
so I used to build these channels on SoundCloud, and any popular record that would drop, because before I started doing that, I used to drop mixtapes with live mixtapes or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, and while doing that, I was putting my records on all the mixtape with all these major artists. I may get like different artists like Rich the Kid or whoever was popping at that time to host the mixtape. And I had the relationship with live mixtapes, so I used to drop my tapes on the front live mixtapes, and I used to go crazy. And I used to put my music in it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was doing this to keep my, to keep my own music going and shit. So long story short, I was building these SoundCloud networks, right? These pages. And what I used to do is I used to take all the hottest records at that moment, and I used to get them early. Mm-hmm. So I used to, when I get them, I upload them to SoundCloud. And mind you, I used to have like 9-10 accounts, different accounts going.
How many followers on?
So that was the thing I used to use. I used to make people follow the account in order to get a free download, to download a record. I was using download gates to build these accounts.
Right.
So it was at this time it was like the hottest records, like, you know what I'm saying? Like if Gucci Mane dropped the record, that was crazy.
So many people following you.
So many people. You know what I'm saying? And the power of SoundCloud was, all you had to do was just, if you like the record, all you had to do was hit repost, and it was going to go on your page.
Right. I remember that.
So that's basically what I used to do is build these pages up, and the reposts are just going crazy because, like I said, I was putting all the hottest new records, like even unreleased records, you know what I'm saying? So I was putting them on these accounts, and these accounts were growing fast. I'm talking about fast. I'm talking about records was hitting like millions of plays. So you can just imagine how many people download them, and as they're downloading them, they had to follow in order to get the download.
Damn.
On all these accounts. So as I'm growing these accounts, I created a service, which was like a repost service. So I was using the same strategy. So I started charging artists to get their songs placed in the SoundCloud community. So at that time, a lot of records was coming through, and mind you, it was so many records coming through Viral Media Boost through our SoundCloud promotions to where we couldn't keep up with it.
Y'all had major. I remember using a service where you had major email blasts too.
Mm-hmm.
So how many emails did you have?
We had like 60,000 something on our email list. Yeah, and our email list was going crazy for sure.
Sheesh.
I definitely remember
So
that.
do you think there's power still in SoundCloud? Because I know SoundCloud did lose a little bit of a wave.
It is for sure. You know, with a lot of these networks, it's just like anything else. It's about a trend. And at this time, the trend was SoundCloud. So it's like I had all the lit channels. You know what I'm saying? So, perfect example. One of the records I'll never forget. So I had all these records that was just going crazy on SoundCloud. And a lot of times we get so many records. I didn't have time to listen to a lot of these records that was coming through. So a lot of times, like, I listened to a record for like 30 seconds. You know what I mean? And if it was good, I'll approve it and then run through the team, and then we'll repost the record on the channels. Man, I'll never forget. It was this one specific record that I'll never forget. And the song was called White Iverson. I just remember the title.
Oh, shit.
I just remember the title at this moment. I never forget. Months later, I was listening to the radio and I kept hearing this song, White Iverson. And I was like, that song is dope. Sounds mad familiar too, but it never registered properly. And then just one day, for some reason, it just hit me like ding. So I ended up going to check through some of our recent reposts and purchases, and Post Malone's manager, shout out to Dre London, Post Malone's manager had ran the SoundCloud play.
What?
And the White Iverson record just went retarded. So just like around that time, I was working Trippie Redd Records. I was getting them from labels. I was doing Trippie Redd, Juice WRLD, RP Juice WRLD, Playboy Cardi. I never forget. I had this channel, and I don't know who it was. May have been somebody from his team or whatever it was, but somebody purchased one of my accounts on SoundCloud. And the thing is, with SoundCloud around this time, so I had one channel had Matt Gucci song records on it. So what you could do is, it was like the smart, and I heard Soulja Boy say he used to do this. So I don't know if it was somebody from his team basically bought a SoundCloud channel from me, right? And what they did, they took all the records that was inside the SoundCloud channel that had like millions of plays and streams, and they changed the whole account around to like a Playboy Cardi account, and changed all. So at that time, you could take a song out and add a song in it. It's already reposted on thousands of pages. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
You get what I'm saying? So
oh my God.
this song is already posted on thousands of pages.
Crazy.
So it was the smartest thing. Whoever did this was the smartest thing they did. Like, you know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, boom, Playboy Cardi was just
and then, I remember
popping.
at this time, Playboy Cardi, Rich the Kid, Trippie Redd, 6ix9ine, a lot of these cats was SoundCloud rappers, XXX. These are SoundCloud rappers. And now that you're saying that, you know what I feel like? I feel like Spotify took what you did and did that with their playlist, just across the whole board of everything. They made so many different playlists by Spotify, and you do have a boom of Spotify artists, like, you know what I'm saying, where Spotify made famous. I feel like it's the same thing with, you know, your SoundCloud stuff.
That's what I was doing with SoundCloud too, though. You could take albums. So I used to do this too. A hot artist would drop an album, I'll I'll create the album in SoundCloud, and I will add
Other
other artists
between.
in between. But it helped it helped the. It was
Everybody.
crazy.
It helped
So
everybody.
mind you, again, I started out doing this type of stuff for myself, and then it just, you know what I mean? It just turned into something, and I just turned it. I was like, okay, I can monetize this. I can become profitable off this. So, you know, I know you asked about the funding or whatnot. So that's kind of where it started for the most part. And I can go on and on and on about how many artists that I've done, you know, services for. It's a gang. I can go on and 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 on. You feel me? But what I did was, just this past year, I kind of looked and, you know, I did a lot of analyzing this year, and you know, I've been doing credit for a while. You know what I'm saying? So I understand credit, financial literacy, and things of that nature. So what I ended up doing was I ended up analyzing what was coming through this, you know, during the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? So I saw a lot of fluctuation with artists, and I understand a lot of independent artists don't financially have the budget to really work records. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes a real budget to really work a record.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People be thinking, oh, I'm gonna spend $1,000, $2,000, and I'm about to be lit. No. You feel me?
What would you say is a good amount per record? If I'm an up and coming artist, what should I get ready to spend? I believe in this one record. What should I be get ready?
I mean,
ready
just to, and I'm not saying, you know, it definitely take more than the amount that I'm about to give, but just to kind of start making some noise, at least 40,000. Spent the right way. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about that's just to make some noise. I'm not saying that's going.
And how long of a
break
time?
that. I mean, it really just depends. Like I said, it depends on the record. It depends on the marketing strategy. You know, it depends on a few different components.
So,
But again, you know, I mean, I've seen people spend only $2,000. But like I said, you know, we can't. You can't really say, like, you know what I'm saying, like, because when it comes to records, you know, it's really based off of your listeners, your fans. Like, you know what I'm saying? We can't really pick a record ourselves and be like, yo, this record right here is going to be it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a hit record. Boom. Like, you can't do that. Like, it's really based off the people. It's really based off the fans. Like, what are they, you know what I mean? Like, what are they into? Like, what are they vibing with? They're all the ones that's going to carry your record to be what it is. So a lot of times, you know, with that, it's really about just marketing strategies, having the right marketing strategies. You know what I'm saying? That's very important.
It's crazy because a lot of artists, like, just speaking just from an artist standpoint, they don't know marketing.
No,
They don't know. All they know is music, and how do they know what is a good budget to spend? Like you say, some people may be 40,000, some people may be 2,000. So it's like, how long does it take for you to realize and notice? Okay, what am I spending? Where am I spending? And how much I'm about to have to spend?
Right. Like I said, it's really about your strategies, for real. It take time. It ain't. I'm not saying spend 40,000 in a month. You don't want to do that.
No.
Like you wanna like, you got so many different platforms. You got Spotify, you got YouTube, you still got SoundCloud. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have so many different directions and so many platforms that you got TikTok. TikTok is breaking records right now. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like when it comes to that, it's really about you have to really you got to sprinkle a little bit on all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And over a course of time, see which one is carrying the record. TikTok may be carrying the record more than YouTube is doing. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, SoundCloud, let's just say, I'm just using this as an example. You got all these platforms, right? And you're working the record on all these platforms. I'm not saying take 40,000 and just drop it just out there. Like, nah, just, spend about a good 10, you know what I'm saying? And just spread it out. And
about 3,000 a month, 10 or 10,000?
About 10 that first, about 5 to 10 that first month. If just to give you some speed to kind of see what's going on, so you can analyze what's going on. So say for example on TikTok is moving the most. Influencers is grabbing it. They making content to it. The record, you know what I'm saying? People is picking the record up, and TikTok is doing better than YouTube, Instagram, or whatever ads you're running on Facebook, and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what you want to do is take the remainder of the budget and focus on TikTok. Put more in TikTok because that's where you're getting results at. So you want to spend most of your budget at where you're getting the results. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like I said, it's just really about a strategy. You know what I mean? It's really about a strategy for real. And, with me being a music artist, I find myself a lot of times, because I've serviced Viral Media Boost, we have serviced over 50,000 independent artists. Over the past 6-7 years.
Freak, 50,000?
For sure. Like, so, and that's just, and like I said, it's a service, it's an affordable service to where you can go for YouTube, or you can go for, and I made it affordable to where you got lower tier, you got higher tier, lower budgets, higher budgets, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So pretty much what you're able to do as an artist, because again, every artist isn't able to really afford to put into marketing. So that's why we put together the rapper funding program, you know what I'm saying? Which is teaching artists how to leverage credit so they can go to the financial banks and get the funding that they need to put back into whatever it is that they're doing and staying independent with no contracts.
Right, but a lot of that, it's crazy. You have to, I would say, just myself as a musician, drive. Because a lot of people think because they got the money and they're spending the money, they don't have to do nothing else. Like I was seeing something that I think Wallow or I was saying online. He was like, "Stop! It's time to stop being cool. Y'all too cool now. It's time for y'all rappers to get out there and actually promote. Y'all got to get out there and actually show y'all face. Y'all gotta stop being like y'all too cool to show your to push our projects." I think a lot of artists, and I speak from experience from working with other people, it's like they spend the money and they just expect to kick back and chill somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like I spent that. I spent this much money. I shouldn't have to do nothing no more. Like I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I would say, if these rappers are getting funding, are you also telling them like, look, the work don't stop just because you got this check from this bank? You know what I'm saying? Like you still have to go gung ho and grind crazy, because making, like you say, you work with 50,000 artists. Only 100, 200 of them make the Billboard. You get what I'm saying?
So a lot of times, even with that, like I get hung up and I get so busy helping others to a point to where I don't even get to really focus on my own projects sometimes. But it ends up being cool though, because I enjoy what I'm doing. Like if you knew some of the records that I've been behind, like you'd be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, so just me being a part of success.
And you're learning a lot as you're going too, just as an artist.
I'm learning, of course. And then, when I'm doing my own thing, I'm enjoying it. You know what I mean?
Right. And it's like kind of like also it's dope because it's like a cheat sheet. Like, okay, I know how to spin here and spin. This is working for this artist also. Boom, boom. This is not working like as much for this budget. You know what I'm saying? You kind of get a base of kind of what to spend starting off, so it's not like you're swinging in the blue. You know what I mean?
Nah, that's a true fact. That is a true fact.
So for your personal project, how is that coming along?
It's coming along. I mean, for the most part, right now, I'm pretty much just having fun right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going along the ways. I just drop records whenever I want. A lot of visuals more so than anything. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I'm just I'm enjoying it right now.
Oh, dope.
And I feel like that's very important. You know what I mean? Like being able to. I'm not following no trends. I'm doing me, and I'm doing it when I want to. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So my fans is rocking with me too as well. So I'm cool. I'm happy. I'm in a good space. So I feel like that's very important.
And it's all about having fun as an artist.
Yep.
And I always preach that myself, as far as just having fun, being happy while you're doing it, because it's less stress. And you get better product out of that. When it's forced, you could tell a forced ass shaking song.
For sure.
You could tell a fun one when people in the studio just whatever, like Bobby Shmurda, right? I can tell Hot Nigga was a happy in the studio while we having fun turned up song. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I will always preach to artists: have fun. Go to the studio, have fun. That's why you got a lot of people who drink in the studio, because it's a party to them. Mm-hmm. They're not caring too much about the rest of the real world.
That's when the
best, bills in life and all that.
The best of your creativity comes out then.
Right, 100%, 100%. So,
and you can tell, like, if you know, with music, you know, music is a transfer of a frequency. You know what I'm saying? So you can tell and you can feel when the artist is like perfect example, right? Certain records, when you hear them, you can feel them, and they make you do certain things, like a club record. You know what I'm saying? The 808s or the production of the beat. You know what I'm saying? The delivery from the artist, you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? And you can kind of tell, you know, where an artist is when they created a record. You know what I mean? You could tell if it's real. You could tell if it's they just being creative. Like, it's something that you can feel. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, even myself, when I create records, I personally create feel-good music. You know what I'm saying? Because when I create, it's something that's something that's within me. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I've been through. It's something, you know, music to me is it's a form of art. It's a form of creativity. And through my music personally, you know, I paint pictures. You know, I grew up like, you know, when I was young, I used to draw. I used to paint. I used to be heavy into that. You know what I'm saying? And I still am mentally. When I say I still am mentally, it's before I even go into a studio and create, you know, I painted that picture already in my mind. I seen it. I visualized it. I've been through it. It's something that I experienced. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I bring it to life. And people are able to feel it because they're able to relate. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, right. You know, I mean, like I said, you know, you can feel it. You can feel it if it's real. Like, if it's forced, you can kind of tell if a record is being forced. You know what I'm saying?
So right now, okay, question for you. All right. It's gonna get a little tricky. Mm-hmm. 5 artists that you think forces it.
Damn. 5 artists that I think force it. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, or okay. 5 songs you think is forced. Like, you know how they got industry plants, industry seeds?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't listen to a lot of I don't have a big selection of music that I listen to.
Really?
Really.
Yeah, you know what? I can't. I'm a DJ.
Like, I mean, if I'm like, you know, around people, you know, of course they listening to what's hot, but I don't have a.
So if you're going to a nightclub, what you doing? You just, doesn't matter what.
I'm just vibing. I mean, I love music. You know what I'm saying? So me personally, I love music. So I mean, if I'm in the environment and, you know what I'm saying, I'm having a good time, I'm enjoy whatever it is. I mean, I could be in a reggae spot, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever type of spot I'm in. If the vibe and the energy is there, I'm you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna enjoy myself.
Really?
I love music.
Yeah.
I love music just in general, period. You know what I'm saying? But I don't personally really have, like, I don't listen to a lot of music, like, you know what I'm saying?
What?
Yeah.
I mean, for me,
and when I say a lot of music, I don't listen to a bunch of artists. Like, I'm not going through, like, listening to, you know what I mean? Like, back when there was, like, mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Why do you think mixtapes don't work no more? They do not work at all. You ask me. People be like, I'm putting together a mixtape. I think that if you an artist,
the mixtapes nowadays are playlists. That's a mixtape nowadays.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, because think about it, mixtapes came. You know, you had
mixtapes showed talent, right? In today's day and age, talent, it doesn't matter. It's just feel good. You could be saying nothing as long as it feel good. When this artist is saying it, I'm a rock with this joint. I feel good today. You know what I mean? Like, and then we confuse because it feels so good to us. That's very talented, which is probably it is a talent to make somebody feel good with music, right? But lyrically, it used to be back in the day. Weezy baby, get that Weezy baby, how you can it? Like a Lil Wayne mixtape was like, how did he think to put those words together? Talent, right? Today, a poppin' mixtape is dang. How did he kill so many people? You know what I'm saying? Like it is a complete difference today. But I mean, we can't blame the energy we put out right now as far as music goes. This is the music that we're accepting.
Right,
you know what I mean? So
for sure,
it's just a total different ball game. But what's your take on Spotify? Like, what you think about Spotify blowing up as an artist on Spotify? You think that's like where artists should rely on, because Spotify is probably one of the biggest platforms in the world when it comes to music. What do you think about blowing up on it?
I mean, I feel like Spotify is a good tool. I mean, it's your number one streaming, to my understanding, right now.
That's why they pay. I mean, for their amount of streams is 1.2 million streams paid you $5,000 compared to 680 something thousand streams on Tidal is $5,000.
I think Tidal pays out the most against Spotify and Apple.
Yeah, Tidal pays the most.
And then it's Apple.
Then it's Apple. Then it's Spotify, because Spotify is, they're like, we're the most in demand. You're going to get more views with us just based off of us being Spotify. We got it like that.
For sure.
And, Apple, they won't release how many subscribers they have for Apple Music. Tidal releases it. They're like, we got 80 million a month. So holla at us. This is paid people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're not to mention the people.
I mean,
who don't pay.
They show the numbers. I mean, that's one platform to where you can actually see the numbers, and you can actually see how well a record is doing. You know what I mean? And we in an era where the numbers is important.
Numbers matter.
Yeah, I mean, think of it this way. Artists. There was a time to where artists will go and inflate numbers just to draw you in to listen to records. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There was a time to where, you had
fake views matter.
Fake views, fake listens, and all that was a thing, because if you think about it, everybody follows a trend. Everybody follows, each other. So it's like, oh, everybody is listening to this record. I like this record now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, the numbers, it has 500,000 plays on it. So that means that everybody likes this record. Okay, now I like it because everybody else like it.
I think fake views matter up until it was time to put asses in seats.
Exactly.
Once a promoter be like, yo, he got 1 million plays in a couple of days on this song. Let's book him. They'll book him.
Nobody showing up.
Nobody shows up. Nobody knows the song. Then you start to realize, oh, fake plays kind of ain't it no more. Because the name, what happens after you get all these fake plays and fake followers and fake all that, and nobody shows up, the word goes around that no one rocks with you like that. No, and that's the dangers of fake. It's dope when you want it to look good, but it can mess your whole career up when it's time for it to matter.
For sure. It definitely can.
And that's why I tell a lot of people, like, yo, yeah, the numbers look cool, but don't get booked. Don't go try to be a real artist now, because real artists get real views and real plays. Don't really go get booked and really get the, you know what I'm saying, that the reality check, because it's gonna hurt, and then you're gonna have to pay for that. You know what I mean?
It's always gonna be a thing in some sense. Like you'd be surprised, a lot of the majors that still kind of do it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm for sure majors do that. Major labels do it because why? How I know why I think there's a such thing as industry plants. The industry are major labels. The plants are the fake views. And the major label was backing these people with that. They know they have fake views. That's a plant. To me, you ask me, you know what I'm saying? Because when they come to the DJ booth like, yo, such and such just dropped this many millions or whatever, I play the song and no one knows it. I'm like, yo, for real, bro, just because you this such and such label don't mean that we have to play these songs. You know what I'm saying? It has to matter at some point. And one thing, and now me touching on that, up and coming artists, if you want to break as an artist, I always wanted to say this. If you want to break as an artist, take your boys, you and all your 10 of your homies. Take about $100, $200 to pay the DJ to play your song. Give him $200. He might play it 2 or 3 times that night. When that song comes on, you don't have to have a table. It's gonna be too much. It's gonna cost too much. Be in the middle of that dance floor and turn up like crazy, because people are followers. They're gonna be like, "Yo, what song is that they just
For
played?
real.
What song is that?" Snapchat them over on the dance floor, turning up like crazy to this song.
Keep them bottles coming at the same time.
You can do the bottles, or you can honestly just be a club goer, because the bottle people, to be honest, what I'm starting to realize, they're too cool to dance now.
Yeah,
They're too cool. They're too cool right now. So what as an artist, don't be too cool. Be hype. Be turned up of how you want people to react to your music. If you're a club, if you're an artist that you want to resonate in the nightclubs,
turn up records.
Yo, me and the homies, we're gonna pregame at the house. Let's all get drunk. Let's loosen up. Let's go to Club 1 tonight. Club 1, pay the DJ $200. Let's stand in the middle of the dance floor. That song comes on. We all gonna sing the words. We're gonna all turn up to it. Everybody in the nightclub gonna look like, yo, who is that singing that like that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? On to the next club. You saving money. You ain't got to spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in bottles. You can club hop, you know what I'm saying, and do that every single night. And it'll cost you a little under probably $400, $500, $1,000.
Bring that energy.
It's the energy. And every time that song comes on, people going to be like, yo, that's the song everybody was getting turned to.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much content goes out. You don't know if somebody on TikTok gonna catch y'all going turned up. Like, who are these people in the club getting turned to this song?
That's a fact.
Snapchat, Instagram stories, YouTube shorts, Facebook story. It's like it's so much that you can capture that one moment, and all it takes is one video clip to go viral.
That's a fact.
Now everybody's trying to turn up like you in the club.
Mm-hmm. You got all these platforms.
Stop being too cool. Stop being too cool, artists. Turn up.
No, you gotta
turn up. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely got a point.
And that's why what I come to you like, I'm like, yo, so once they say, for instance, if they go viral, boom, now it's time to pay for some stuff. What we doing next?
You said they go viral and
they're like, yo, we followed your advice, Bling. We went to this one club, we turned up, everybody listening to the song, but we ain't got no budget.
Invest. You said don't got a budget?
And we do not have a budget. How do we get the money? Music funding, right?
Music funding.
So what we gonna do?
First and foremost, you definitely wanna the first thing you wanna do is you wanna figure out credit. Mm-hmm. Credit is the key thing. And I give you my story. My story behind it was, when I figured out how credit worked, I think I was going to get a car.
Uh-huh.
It was years ago. I think I was going to get a car or something, and I had cash, but when they ran my credit, they denied me for the car. You know what I'm saying? So I was confused for a second. So I'm just like, man, I got the cash, but I didn't really want to give them all the cash. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So at that point is when it clicked to me like, damn, I gotta get this straight. So once I figured that out, long story short, fast forward, once I got my credit straight, how I was getting so many approvals from different banks and different lenders for money, I was like, oh shit. Like, you literally can use your credit to basically, bro, you can get 100,000 in credit before you can in cash. Is what I learned, basically.
Really?
Yeah, like, like literally, first your credit got to be good. If your credit is and this is what we teach in Rapper Funding. Basically, we teach you how to clean your credit. After we clean your credit, what's another thing that's very important is the structure of your credit. Once you structure your credit right, you know what I'm saying, make sure we got a certain amount of accounts on to make sure everything is good accounts. Then we're able to add trade lines and things of that nature to build the account up even stronger. You pretty much, once you got a 700, 730 plus score and you have a certain amount of accounts on your credit account, you can go to certain banks and lenders and they will approve you and give you 30,000, 40,000. So when you think about it, when you done got like six to 10 approvals on different credit cards, you add that up, you done did like 100,000 within a month.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Jeez.
So at that moment, it's all about, what are you going to do with that money now? You know what I'm saying? So what I teach artists is, entrepreneurship as well too, because as an independent artist, you may take 50,000 and put it into a record, but that don't mean that record's gonna pop right then.
Right.
You feel me? It may take more than that. You know what I mean? So what we also teach them is entrepreneurship, how to open up a business, how to create a revenue stream within the business. So now you have money on the side consistently coming in. You know what I'm saying? To where, you know, at the end of the day, when you get a loan from a bank lender, you gotta pay their money back.
Right.
It's the same way when you go sign a label.
Right.
So if you go sign with a label, you gotta pay their money back.
Right.
And you facing splitting your royalties, your masters. So we talking about going to a bank and cutting out all that. You know what I'm saying? And building, basically giving yourself financial freedom. Right. So you can go to the labels later and do a partnership deal. Right. That's the best direction. That's the best direction to go. Facts. So it's not just about taking the money. I don't advise taking the money and just putting it all into a record. You know what I'm saying? I advise having two different plans. You take some of your budget. I'm a perfect example, right? Let's say, for example, you get $50,000 in funding within the first month of you running the play, right? Let's say, for example, take $20,000 to start the record, start pushing the record. Right. Take $30,000 and invest it in business. Like, you know what I'm saying? Invest in Turo, invest in Airbnb, go create you a merch store. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Learn Facebook advertising, learn Google advertising, run ads, push your content out there so you can sell your products. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. E-commerce. There's so many ways to make money. You know what I'm saying? So in the program, we teach that. So because a lot of artists don't have that mindset. Mm-hmm. And we give them the information and show them step by step how to do so. So we're kind of like walking you through the whole process. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So you are successful in it. Right. Because a lot of times, you know, I hear it all the time. Artists are afraid. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got to pay this back. Okay, and? Right. You feel what I'm saying? Right. Like this is like a slam. This is like the bank threw you an alley. What you gonna do with it? You in the air now. Facts. You feel what I'm saying? Facts.
I think it's just a lack of, you know, knowledge. They don't know. But that's you can get the bread. It's just a lack of it.
But see, that's what I'm saying. And I understand that because I was there at one time. You know what I'm saying? Right. Now I'm to a point to where I have the understanding, I have the knowledge, and I'm able to share the information, which is why we created a program like rapper funding or music funding, because I feel like it's important. You know what I'm saying? Independence and you know, learning the business. Back to what we were saying earlier, you know, the importance of understanding the business. We are in the music business, so these things are important to know and understand. You know what I mean? And for someone who's really serious about going to the next level, you're gonna do what you gotta do to receive that information, but not only receive it, execute it. Right. I just, man, it's just, it sounds really dope. I think I would do. I mean, as an artist, I would say, you know, this is the route to go. But how do you? What happens when the labels push you out? Because don't they kind of like somewhat push you out when it comes to like Spotify and these different playlists and stuff like that? Those, you know, that goes back to relationships. Like relationships is key. You know what I'm saying? And when you get to a point to where you're putting numbers on the board and you're investing in yourself and you're investing in these records, and the records blow up and they're doing what they need to do, the labels are going to come to you. You know what I'm saying? So at that moment is when you build your relationship. Now you have a conversation to have. Mm-hmm. You have a interest that they, you know what I'm saying? You spark that interest in them if they came to you. Right. That's what you want to do anyway. Like you can't really go to, my advice is you can't really go to a label and like, oh yeah, I got the hottest record in the city, this, that, and the third. You can be like, okay, cool, word, okay. What station is it being played on?
Right. But do you think radio stations to me do not matter? I'm sorry. I personally do not believe in radio station play. Why? Because they're always behind. They're always behind when it's really happening and when it really matters, because they have to go by programming. And by the time programming gets to them, it's like we're on to the next wave of songs anyway.
I feel like.
And who listens to radio when you got all these streaming services?
For sure.
And FM radio isn't high quality like serious radio is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to me, when they say what stations is playing on, ain't none of them. I hope not none of them.
Apple Music, Spotify.
Oh,
That's what everybody is
right.
pretty much
Right.
in tune with. I mean, but radio is. I know. I definitely feel what you're saying for sure. But again, radio is something that's needed. But my advice is let the labels handle that.
Yeah, but they're judging radio play off of these people's deals. When it just doesn't matter.
For sure.
And then on top of that, they're saying, yo, we spent this much money at radio. You're paying for that, right? Like, but bro, the
For
radio
sure.
don't really matter though. Like,
For sure.
don't
That is
spend
a
my
fact.
money on radio. Spend my money on playlists.
That is a fact.
If I'm signing you, spend my money on this instead of spending on that. Go spend my money on YouTube ads and Facebook ads. Like, nah, don't do all that.
That's a fact.
Because radio, it really does not. It's not transferring to the streets. It's not transferring to these social media platforms. I'm sorry. It used to validate the artist, but now it's just kind of like it's the newspaper now. You get what I'm saying?
Totally.
It's like, to me personally, I think labels are behind, and once they catch up, it's kind of like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
That's why I say is the power is in the independence. I mean, as an artist, now you in an era to where if you want to put out a record, you can go to DistroKid, you can go to United Masters. You know what I'm saying? You can go to these distribution companies to distribute your records. But what I've noticed is a lot of artists feel like going to them, their job is done. So you know what I'm saying? Being in a conversation with artists and they be like, oh yeah, my record out is doing numbers, this, that, and the third. And they'd be like, okay, well, what you do with it? Oh yeah, I push it through DistroKid. Okay, what else? Like, you still got to market it. Like, you know what I'm saying? What are you doing? They're just going to put the music on all the platforms. Now it's your job to go
Promote the content.
market it and promote the content. So I feel like as an independent, which is another reason why we created the funding aspect of things, because you need the funds to put into marketing.
To put into content.
And to put in, exactly.
Who's filming it? Who's editing it?
All of that. Video team, all of that costs. Going in the studio, recording records, shooting videos, all that shit costs. And a lot of artists, what they do is they'll spend top dollar on the record, spend top dollar on the video, but won't spend top dollar on marketing. They think that's all they got to do. And then another thing I noticed too is artists will go pay for a feature, right? Mm-hmm. And they won't invest in no marketing because they feel like, oh, I got this record with Moneybagg Yo, I don't got to do nothing else. They not paying Moneybagg Yo to post on his social media. They're not paying for no marketing. All they're gonna do is post it. They may pay Worldstar to go on the website. Nobody.
But people that found out Worldstar views is fake. I'm calling it out as how it is. People that found out the jig. I'm sorry, Worldstar. It's too many people where y'all getting 11 million views on Worldstar, and then you getting
YouTube
300 views on YouTube. 3 million is 3 million, fam. If 3 million people look at my content, bro, why ain't at least 300,000 coming to the YouTube?
That's a fact.
Sums up. I ain't trying to be no a-hole star.
That's a
but
fact.
it just ain't transferring over, bro. You know what I'm saying?
People ask me what's the best investment to make with Worldstar? Their YouTube and their Instagram, because they shit lit.
Oh yeah, their YouTube and Instagram is lit. I would say I'm paying for the Instagram, bro.
Yeah, the Instagram is crazy.
Tag me direct.
Yeah,
Get them clicks direct. I don't want to go on y'all website. Y'all website, nah. But give me y'all Instagram and give me y'all YouTube. Because if y'all had fake views on YouTube taking that down. So I know that's not fake.
Nah, their YouTube is lit.
Their YouTube got. I know. I can't say anything.
It's just the website, the domain. Like just right now, like domains is not it. Like people still ask for blogs, and but the thing domain blogs, like website blogs. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, they be asking for the certain purpose of getting traffic,
right?
And I always tell them that's just good for just publication. You know what I'm saying?
I want to get verified.
Backlinks, because nobody is actually. When the last time you went to an actual blog website?
I don't. I go to the Instagram.
That's what I'm saying. So that's one of the things I say. Blogging now is on Instagram. Like you got major blogs on Instagram. You got our generation music, which is dope. You got rap, which is dope. You got World Star. Their Instagram is dope. You got It's Biscuit. Shout out to It's Biscuit, my dog It's Biscuit. That, you know what I'm saying?
Dope.
His blogging is dope.
I love it.
So it's like you got to go to the Instagram because that's where you're going to get your.
Exactly. And that's how you start feeling the buzz and feeling who matters with that. It used to be the websites, allhiphop.com, hotnewhiphop.com. It used to be that, but times change and they didn't change with the times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's their fault. And I've seen a lot of, I see a lot of blogs come from the ground up. Look at the Shade Room. It wasn't no shaderoom.com people went to first. The Shade Room started on Instagram.
Facts.
And it's the biggest blog in the world.
I've never been to the shaderoom.com.
You see what I'm saying?
I now that you mention it, I don't even know if they even have a .com.
They got a .com, but
never been to it.
But more people go 20-some million people is going to them Instagram.
Exactly. Instagram is crazy.
So you got to change with the times, people. If you're not changing with the times are going to keep going. The times do not stop. Time don't stop for nobody.
Man, that's the most valuablest thing that we have.
Exactly.
And you don't get it back once it's gone.
You don't.
That's a true fact.
So and that's my thing. Like I like to keep it blunt with artists. A lot of artists, they want to get sold the dream. The dream, man, the dream is for the birds nowadays. I'm sorry, y'all. If you ain't got the work ethic, go change professions because you need a crazy work ethic. If you're gonna be an artist in today's day and age, 16-hour work days. I'm sorry. 16 hours. Start your timers. Start the timer. If you know it ain't 16 hours that day and you ain't worked at least 16 hours that day, you ain't gonna make it. I'm sorry. I don't want to say it like that, but I ain't gonna say you ain't gonna make it. Chances of you making it is getting slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. Work harder, grind harder, and then you want to be smarter. You want to meet new people. Look at this interview, for instance. Chris Tyson, right here. He's telling you what he's worked with in the past, years of experience. You watch this interview, what you got to do, you're gonna have to hit him up. You hear that? If you're listening to this interview, hit them up. Be smart. If you know somebody who does music and they're just staying stagnant in the same exact place, hit you up.
That's a fact.
I still to this day tell artists, yo, I know somebody who dope with the playlist, who dope with the marketing, who dope with the making sure you can get to the right places and see some numbers and see it change. This is a person that, where it's not overnight. We talking years of experience, people. Follow suit.
We changing rapper funding and music funding though. We changing the game with this though. Like for sure. Like this year, like when I tell you my goal and focus is to take so many artists to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm helping. You got a problem getting the proper funding to put behind your record. Come over here and we're gonna help you. You know what I'm saying? And then not only
come to Death Row.
We're gonna partner you up with viral. We're gonna partner you up with viral media boosts. After that, after we get you the right budget, and then we're gonna turn your record up. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole objective is we keeping everything in house. You know what I'm saying? You got to have, if you're gonna do this independent thing and you're serious, you gotta have a marketing team. It's very, very, very important. I don't care how dope your record is, you gotta have marketing.
Yes, sir.
And you gotta be willing to invest, and you can't be afraid. You know what I'm saying? You can't be afraid. But like I said again, we also teach entrepreneurship, and we're gonna show you how to run the bag up for sure and keep it consistent. That's a fact.
Moving forward, you know what I'm saying? Monster moves. You chopping it up. Just spitting the game to the people, letting them know, it's a lot of ways to make it as an artist. What do you think an artist should do after their first million streams and they got that bread, from these different platforms, for monetizing their content?
Reinvest.
Like what should they do? So I'm an artist. I got 1 million streams on this song on Spotify. I got 1.2 million streams on Spotify. Oh, Spotify about to send me a $5,000 check. Oh, snap. Because usually if you get 1 million streams on Spotify, you can probably get a lot of streams on Apple, a lot of streams on Tidal. You're looking at probably about a $7,000 check, right? From sure. Everybody combined, right? What would you tell an artist to do? So spend that $7,000 on what? I would say on merch. Spend it on merch Invest about $2,000 on merch to push back out, because you do have a good amount of people who's probably re-listening to your song, becoming a fan. Sell that merch for $40-$50. All you got to sell is about what, 20 of those $50 hoodies. Make $1,000 off of that. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna probably cost you about $200 to make, and and follow suit on that. What would you tell somebody?
I mean, that's not a bad idea. I was just gonna say reinvest. You know what I'm saying?
And like, what? Like, because people say
merch is not a bad idea, and retargeting their audience and selling the merch. You know what I'm saying? Because at that moment, that audience is a warm audience. They're familiar. You know what I'm saying? They're already familiar with your music. They're familiar with who you are. They're more willing to buy into products that's linked to you. So I would definitely reinvest that money back versus trying to blow it on a bunch of, you know what I mean? Because you still have a ways to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, your goal is to hit millions, not just a million.
So, but I'm saying, like, because you got a lot of artists who luck up and they posted their songs on a TikTok and it's boiling over, but they want to keep it going. How do they keep it going? Say they do luck up on 1 million views. What they gonna do with that money, that stream money that comes in?
Invest it back into playlisting, and so you can generate more streams and run the numbers up. So
they going to you for the streams and the playlisting, right?
Mm-hmm. And even if they're not,
because it is hard to find these places, these people.
It is, but it takes time. You know what I'm saying? Reaching out, and it's very important to make sure a lot of these playlisters and curators that you're connecting and linking with are authentic and official, because you do have a lot of people out here. You have to be careful when you're reaching out to curators and getting your song placed on a lot of these playlists. It's dangerous at the same time too, because, and I'm gonna explain to you why. There are a lot of playlisters out here who run fake streams on their playlists, and that can get your song removed. So it's very, very important. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very important to know who you're dealing with when you're reaching out to curators and getting your song placed on different playlists, because Spotify will remove you.
As an artist or just a song?
Yeah, for sure.
What?
Yeah,
what if you don't know as an artist?
What you mean?
What if you don't know, like, somebody just like, I'm a hate on dude, I'm about to send like...
I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen for sure. I've definitely seen that happen for sure. Like I say, you just, you just got to be careful.
You just got to fight against it. Huh?
Like, if you can take the time out and learn how to use Facebook ads,
man,
like the gym within that alone, and learning how to reach a cold audience, you know what I'm saying, within that genre or artist that's similar to yours, and then retargeting them. Like, you spoke of merch, like, that goes a long way, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you can figure that out, like, you're good. And plus, if you got a good music, people are gonna fuck with you anyway.
I think artists never really know if they got good music. They never really
Everybody, know. What I noticed? Everybody thinks they have good music.
Exactly.
I be seeing comments like, I run ads, like, I spend over 100,000 a year in just ads. That's just Facebook alone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And sometimes I be looking at some of the ads, and I look in the comments. Now, this is outside of my artist advertising.
Right.
So if I'm running ads for Viral Media Boost, directing traffic back for the services, I look at comments, and a lot of times artists will leave their song link in the comments, and I'd be like, bro, why?
Yeah, why are you doing that?
That's not a hyperlink. Like, you can't go in a comment.
All kind of just
like
letters.
you can't go in a comment and click a link. Like,
right.
So that
they stopped that a long time ago. I remember you used to be able to put the YouTube video in that.
Yeah, but you can't do that on it can't be done. So stop doing that. Like, if you do that and you're watching this, stop doing that. Nobody is going to ever sit on their phone or go to a computer and type out your link to go listen to your song. It's not happening. And never do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Stop doing that. It's like a total waste. Like, really think about every time that you've posted your song link in the comment, how many views did you get from that? Really, really think about that. Like,
You think you're gonna get 1 million views off of that?
you're not getting 10.
Right.
Like, no, like, seriously, you're like, nobody is doing that. So it's like, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're better off putting your artist name in your song. Nobody is still going to go and look for it, but you're better off just putting your artist name in your song. Like, I don't advise that neither. That's not,
I would say
it's not marketing.
the best thing to do is comment on everything. Engage with the people. Talk to the people.
There you go.
Talk to them. Engage in groups. Talk to people in groups organically. So they be like, yo, he always made certain points. You know what I'm saying? Or he always did this and this and that. Like certain artists that you know your music sounded like, or you'll be on tour with that person, follow them, comment on their comments.
I agree with that.
Engage with the people. You sooner or later, you know what I'm saying? Those followers gonna start spilling over. Like, okay, this dude be making sense. This dude, oh, he do music. Oh, that music is kind of dope. You know what I'm saying? It's the same audience that's gonna come over.
Don't force your link on nobody.
Don't force the link. Don't force the music on the people.
Nah, don't.
Don't force the music.
Because that makes people not even want to even
hear you.
Yeah, like for sure.
And stop performing at the clubs when no one know your song. Don't perform at that mic and be like, yeah, we turned up and we lit and we be drinking. Like, don't do that. Let the DJ play the song and y'all be in the middle of the audience turned up like it's not your song. So people could just think like, yo, what new song is that? You know what I'm saying? Do that. Because the performing in the club and it's lit and people spending $20,000 on bottles and you got an unnamed homie performing and rapping on the mic because it's going to hurt you more than it's going to help you.
If people want to know what song this is they're listening to, they're going to pull their phone out and they're going to
Shazam it.
There you go.
They're going to Snapchat find it. You get what I'm saying? That's
you got that on Snapchat?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
You hold the Snapchat thing and it shows the music thing come up.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's like, and that's why I always tell people like, yo, go to the club and make a movement. Like, make some noise as a club goer and just club hop with the homies. You ain't got a bottle pop at each club.
Right.
For what? Stop trying to be a superstar before the superstar stardom come. Stop doing that. Fall in love with the process. You fall in love with the process, you're gonna always love it. You're gonna always love the work ethic. You're never going to get lost into the how people are looking at you. Notice a lot of these artists who get popping and they start, they're not getting as many streams as before and after or whatever. They fall into depression. Have y'all not followed these people's interviews? And they're telling you, man, I was on top of the world. And the moment I realized I wasn't on top of the world no more, man, I started drinking and popping pills all day. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, things just changed for me, Like, that's what happens. Like, fall in love with the process. Stop being too cool. Stop trying to be a superstar because that's like what you think superstars do. Be you 100%. Why? Because can't nobody copy you. No one has lived through your life how you lived through your life and can explain certain songs the way you can explain these certain songs or give certain songs certain emotion. It's because you lived through it and you can say it a certain kind of way. You can perform it a certain kind of way that nobody can duplicate. Mm-hmm. Be yourself and it's going to be comfortable. You're going to be comfortable all the way through as an artist, y'all. A lot of people don't understand that. They always think they got to be Gucci. They got to be Future.
You know what's funny? I mean, as an artist, there was a time where I did that and I got caught up in following the trends.
Me too. I tried to be Jay-Z. It's the rock. Doing all that.
I got caught up in following the trends, and once I stopped trying to follow the trends, like, yo, fuck it, I'm gonna focus and be me. It's when that shit felt amazing.
And you started seeing that.
It felt amazing, the process, and you can also tell because people start. You know what I mean? It's like more people start fucking with you even more because they can feel it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They be like, yo, how'd you say it like that? Like, I felt that. You get what I'm saying? Like, and that's when you just yourself and You're gonna be able to explain emotion a certain
Always
way.
be yourself.
You're gonna be able to explain. You're gonna be able to do a song a breakup song the right way because you've been through that. You're gonna be able to do a love song. You're gonna be able to do a turned up song. You're gonna be able to do a fun song, a sad song, because you really explaining in going from raw human emotion, and people can tell. Either you're a great actor and you'll get caught up, or you just be yourself.
For sure.
But it's harder being a great actor. I tell you that. It's harder being a great actor than being yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Just be real. Just be yourself. You know what I'm saying? There's always a large amount of people who are going to be able to relate to your story.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And if your shit authentic, they gonna feel that shit.
Right. What artist would you say today in today's time is like top tier independent, does everything right? Anybody come to mind? Nobody come to mind? I mean, just somebody you like, yo, they're doing everything as an indie artist the right way. I like their approach. I like the way they coming out with music. I like the content they're doing and they're coming out with. And everything's just right on point. Any artists come to mind? Nobody come to mind?
Russ?
Oh man, Russ. Russ does it the right way. You know what's crazy? I don't follow Russ, but I see Russ I hear Russ news. I don't really see too much of his songs or his content or his music videos, but I just hear, oh, Russ. Something Russ always comes up.
And he makes dope music.
He do?
He makes dope music for sure.
Yeah, I like his. I follow him on Instagram just based off of him pushing this independent movement.
I feel like right now when I look at artists, he's like a perfect example of independence. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I remember he had a movement where he released a song every week. Like every week he released a song, and I'm such a fan of that. Mm-hmm. I'm such a fan of just releasing content and releasing music every week. I'm gonna start doing that myself. I'm gonna start releasing all this music that I do instead of holding it in, because
you make some dope music too.
Appreciate that.
You make some dope music too. So I'll advise, you know what I'm saying, that being one of the things that you do this year.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Because I was always that person that's like, yeah, I'm going to just keep it to myself and one day. But you know what? Time don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? Time stops for nobody.
You gotta let it go.
You don't know when you're going to be here and when you're not going to be here. So it's just better to just go ahead and just
give it to the world.
Give it to the world. And that's my advice for everybody. Like, stop holding on to these hundreds of songs. For what? What you holding on to them for? So nobody can ever hear them? You think somebody going to steal them? No. And if they do steal them, put your before and there after, and then there you go. But there's a big controversy thing about it, and everybody saying, yo, such and such stole such and such song, and boom, go from there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people are scared that someone's going to steal their music. Well, if you do you better than, nobody can do you better than you do you.
That's a true fact.
And if you were doing you on that song, guess what's going to happen? They going to get exposed for it.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
True fact.
Man, it's so much of that, dog. So much of that nowadays, dude. So much people just people just thinking everybody's just watching them. They gonna steal.
All the time.
Yeah, they gonna steal our stuff. Ain't nobody worried about.
Ain't nobody even paying attention to what you got going on.
Ain't no,
because you're not doing nothing to, you know what I mean? You're not doing nothing to draw any attention to yourself to where they like. Why do they want to steal it? Like, why do they want to steal it? What are you doing that's making the next person want to steal your ideas and what you're doing? Mm-hmm. Like, how is them stealing what you're doing going to make a change in their life to where they're progressing? Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? When people start stealing what you're doing, that's how you know you're doing something right. Do you know how many times I've had people? I'm this on the business side of things. Do you know how many times I've had people mock viralmediaboost.com and will like basically? Matter of fact, I just had this happen like last month. Some company went and created viralmediaboostonline.com and was sending emails out, and you know what I'm saying, as if they were the official viralmediaboost.com. So when people start stealing, you know, and start running off your name, that lets you know that you're doing something
true
correct. You know what I mean? If people not stealing your brand, like for example, I'm pretty sure on Instagram you done had numerous people create fake JayBling Instagram accounts.
Man, what? They trying to delete my stuff right now, reporting every photo.
That's the perfect example to let you know you're doing something right. If people don't want to copy you and duplicate what you're doing and steal from you, when it comes to a phase to where people are using your name to make money off your name, you're doing something. That's when you know you're doing something right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not the proper way to go, but it's just a sign of letting you know that you're doing something right. You know what I'm saying? It's working. Yeah, what you're doing is working for sure.
Right. Man, so yo, that's the monster move. You know what I'm saying? The podcast with my man Chris Tyson. He came through, dropped some gems. He gonna be back here a lot. That's one thing we're gonna make sure we're gonna bring all the homies back. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And we all be on here chopping it up. Even we always travel together too. So I'm gonna make the podcast remote. So we can just always, be on the island somewhere or some country somewhere.
Fire.
And chop it up. Just chop game up. You know what I'm saying?
Big things this year, man.
A lot of big things.
2022, it's all about progression. Progression better than the year, you know what I'm saying, that was previous. You know what I mean? If you're not progressing each year, then it's time to stop and sit and really, it's time for discipline. It's time to really sit down and evaluate, you know what I'm saying, what you've done the last year, the last 2 years, the last 3 years. If you can sit down and then evaluate what you've done the past 3-4 years, if you don't see progression each year, this year it's time to really sit down and really discipline yourself. I'm talking about your cell phone. This is the biggest distraction first and foremost.
True.
You got to cut all distractions off. All distractions have to be cut loose so you can focus and focus your mind on things that you want to get accomplished. If you allow certain distractions to come into play, you're not going to be successful. If you know what I mean? If you going out and you partying and you blowing money every night, every other night, that's something that you got to cut out. You know what I'm saying? But it's really all about what you want. If you want to be successful and you want to go to the next level, these are things that you have to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, your mindset is the most important thing. If your mindset is not right, those distractions are going to come in and just U-turn everything that you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Am I right? Am I wrong?
You're right.
So it's like, it's all about what you want to do. How serious are you? You know what I'm saying? How serious are you? Are you really trying to change your life? Are you really trying to go to the next level? Where if that's so, sit down, cut your cell phone off for a bit. You know what I'm saying? Don't open no Instagrams, don't open no texts, don't open no phone calls. Put your phone in the closet or something.
Research.
And really just tap in with yourself and really figure out what it is that you want and go from there.
Right. Man, game. That's jewels.
For sure.
That's jewels. And
it's not easy though. It's not easy, but like I said, it takes discipline. It's all about what you want to. And you're gonna know if you're on track or if you're off track. Because every time somebody call you, yo, we about to go pop these bottles, this, that, and the third, and you need to be focusing on, you know what I'm saying, executing your plan, and you put down that book that you was just writing down your goals and your plan for that month, and you put that book down to go turn up, you're on the wrong track.
Facts.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Screwed.
Here's the thing. We all want to turn up, but here's the thing. You can do that after you become successful and you accomplish those goals that you want to get accomplished.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So, the turn up ain't going nowhere. It's going to always be there.
Exactly.
It's okay to say no sometimes.
It definitely is. Sacrifice today so you can pray tomorrow.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? And there you go. Those are the jewels. Those are the gems. Follow your boys. You gotta love it. This is the Monster Move, and we out.
For sure.
Yeah, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up.